Hey guys, welcome back to part two of my landlord nightmare. Um, Last I left off, I was telling you guys that I was referred to a lawyer because I felt like something fishy was going on with my tenants, because he requested to be put on the deed, him and his husband be put on the deed of my house and a 10-year lease. So I called. Now, this was on I want to say on a Tuesday, and I got the referral for the lawyer. I called right away, made an appointment for that next Monday. And so in the meantime, I thought, I wrote a email to the lawyer, kind of giving her a rundown, because sis was $500 an hour. I said, I'm not going to spend $500 telling her all about it. Let me send her an email ahead of time. So I did that. And in the meantime, I thought, you know what? Let me see if he will send me his so-called proposal that he wanted to have drinks over. And we had a conversation about someone coming over to give an estimate on the roof, because I got several estimates. So I would call and or text him and let him know that so and so was coming to give an estimate. And most times, I think maybe only one time I was not there for the estimate. So anyway, I believe it was a conversation. And I said, no, it was a text message. I said, you never did send me information on your proposal. So he actually sent me an email on his proposal for a 10-year lease. He did not mention the deed though, but he sent me an email. So in the meantime, I sent the lawyer that too so that she could see what he's talking about before our initial consultation. So 2 days later, I get a phone call, and usually I get phone calls all day long, and most times it's a scam. If it's a number I don't recognize, I don't answer. But company came up, Assurant. And I'm like, Assurant? Seems like I've heard of them before. So I answered. Turns out it was his renter's insurance company. They called me. I was literally blown away by this conversation. She called me. She says, I'm calling on behalf of your tenant. She verified my name and address and everything. I'm calling on behalf of your tenant, John Doe. I'll call him John Doe. Yes, they've filed a claim for damages to the house. Thinking damages? I didn't say anything. I'm just listening. But I said damages. I said damages on what? She says, well, they're filing a claim saying that there's water damage in the house and that the house is full of mold. Y'all heard me? There's water damage and the house is full of mold, and he and his husband already have autoimmune diseases and it's making them sicker, and they are requesting alternative living. So she went on and on for a few minutes. I said, ma'am, I don't know what you're talking about. She says, she verified the information again. And I said, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know of anything. I said, I know that I'm having the roof replaced, and there's an area in the garage where the ceiling came in. And when I say the ceiling, it's like literally just the corner of the garage, maybe, what is that, 2 feet by 2 feet. And then later on, I found out in the hallway, it wasn't even leaking. Nowhere inside of the house, just the corner of the garage. And I said, he's not told me of anything except for the roof and the shingles and, well, in the garage. And she says, yes, he says that it's making them sick. They're requesting alternative living. I said, ma'am, I know of no other damages in that house except for that, and I'm having the roof replaced. I'm in the process of getting estimates for the roof. And she says, well, this changes things. She says, I don't know where I'm going to go with this information. I said, no, he hasn't informed me of anything except for that one thing in the garage. So anyway, I kind of probably said something I shouldn't have said. And I said, ma'am, they're scammers. I said, I'm meeting with a lawyer next week because they trying to take my house. And she was like, oh, ma'am, I don't know what to say about that. But anyway, I kind of sort of didn't go off, but probably shouldn't have even said that, because then what she told me was, oh, if you're going to retain a lawyer, then I can't talk to you. And I said, I haven't retained them. I have an appointment. So she was able to continue the conversation, but I told her, I know of nothing of mold in the house. I said, I've been in the house because, like I said, at that point in time, I'm getting estimates. So I had been in the house. I smelled no mold. He looked fine. He did tell me he had some rheumatoid arthritis, but he mentioned nothing about feeling sick. He felt like there was mold in the house. Nothing. As a matter of fact, the first time I got an estimate, I met the guy over there, and I went inside, even though they said that they really don't have to go inside of the house. I got there before the company got there. So they invited me. I stepped in, and his husband said, John Doe is on the phone. He'll be out in a minute. So his husband is very quiet. He says nothing. So I'm just standing there like, oh yeah, it's been raining a lot, but I'll get the roof fixed, replaced, or whatever the case may be, whatever they decide. And his husband hands me a large pamphlet. He just hands it to me. He says nothing. He hands it to me. And I said, what's this? And I looked, and it was an estimate for solar panels. Oh, and previously, before I started getting estimates, I went over to see what he was talking about, and he said to me, oh yeah, we're thinking about getting solar panels. I said, I don't want solar panels. I said, I think solar panels is a scheme. I said, I'm not interested in doing that. I said, my first priority is getting the roof fixed. And then a couple days later, when the company was coming, his husband hands me this pamphlet, and it's a whole booklet that with their name on it from a certain company with estimates for a solar panel. And I just put it right back down on that table. Sir, I'm not getting solar panels. I already told your husband that I'm not getting solar panels. But anyway, a company came out. They were going to get back to me on estimates. So then fast forward to that Monday with the lawyer. Within the first 5 minutes, she says, yeah, I read your email, and I read his proposal for a 10-year lease. She says, I looked them up, and she says 99.9% chance it's the same people, with the same name, and they're married. She says, yeah, it looks like they're scammers. She didn't use that word, but she did say that they have liens and evictions against them. She saw one eviction, liens and one eviction that she could find against them. I'm like, wow. And she says, looks like they've been in the system before. This is probably something that they do all the time. And I'm like, where do we go from here? So we had an hour-long conversation. She went over my lease, and she said my lease was actually a pretty solid lease that I got online, because some of the things that he was claiming, or some of the things that would be addressed later on, are in the lease, and it covers me. For instance, this mold thing in my lease, and I actually had to read it again because I didn't know it was in there. Well, I had to be reminded that it was in there. My lease actually says that they are responsible for inspecting the house for mold, and if they find mold, they have to mediate the mold. They have to repair the house for mold. So That's part of my lease. What was the other thing? Oh, any changes that they make, cosmetic changes like the lighting and vanity, landscaping, or whatever, that it's on them. They get no reimbursement from me. And when they leave, either I can make them change it or it just stays the way it is. Appliances, if they switch out anything, it stays in the house. It benefited me a bit in the end when it came to the appliances and the cosmetic changes. But honey, that backyard, oh God, it's going to be a headache. So anyway, we had this long conversation. And she says, as of right now, we can go three ways with him. We can go hard and try to get him out, but it would cost me a lot of time and a lot of money. She said we can go middle of the road and put them on notice that, hey, we're on to you. Stop the shenanigans. Stop the shenanigans. Just stop. Or we can just sit back and wait and do nothing. So she gave me those options. She told me to think about it. And I said, okay, I'll get back with you. And then guess what happens? The hurricanes. The hurricanes, Helene and Milton, back to back. So I wasn't able to get back with her on my decision on how I wanted to move forward. I wanted to go middle of the road and put them on notice. Hey, stop the shenanigans. Whatever you're up to, I'm on to you. I know your history now. So let's just ride this lease out. You pay me. Stop. You don't have to do any more improvements in the house, change anything. Let's just ride this thing out and be respectful to one another. But then the hurricanes happened. So, yeah. So I'm going to leave it at that because I'm going on 12 minutes. I'm trying not to make these videos too long. So stay tuned for part 3 because like I said previously, it gets gooder and gooder, but it gets worse and worse. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Drop down in the comment section also if you have any comments or questions for me because there's a lot more that went on in this short period of time. So I will see you guys in the next video. Have a great weekend. It's Friday. I'm dressed. I'm on my way to work. So you guys have a great weekend. Peace.